welcoming all our viewers to International Affairs, being broadcasted from the SATV's Gulshan studio. Today is 14th May on a Thursday, bringing to the last program of this week. Before I begin, I must tell everyone that a landmark geopolitical earthquake has erupted in Beijing as US President Donald Trump has landed with multiple CEOs from various sectors such as banking and technology in Beijing to meet his counterpart Xi Jinping. As first, we see that the two sides have gone into a 2-hour discussion. There are so many more updates regarding this very issue. We will be discussing how it will shape geopolitics in the coming days. Before we begin, let me introduce my panel here in the studio. I have Barrister M. Sarwar Hussain, a senior jurist of the Supreme Court, as well as a geopolitical analyst and a politician. I welcome you on to the program. Alongside on Zoom, we will have our geopolitical correspondent Norman Floyd Barnes from Washington District of Columbia. I want to begin with you, Norman. US President Donald Trump goes to a 2-day state visit of China as well and lands with multiple CEOs, Jensen Huang of NVIDIA as well as the Tesla CEO Elon Musk. There are many more on this list that has landed with him in this miraculous change in geopolitics. I want to get how you're feeling, how it is being received by common Americans inside the United States of America. Norman, a very good morning to you.
Yes, it is. Good morning. Here in the United States, it's still early, and the information, the news is coming back to us regarding the initial meeting between the two leaders. There are, I believe, 16 other CEOs of the United States with him. The purpose is to initiate trade. The reception was very well received by the delegation of the United States. And Xi Jinping has stated that there's more common agreements they have than disagreements. However, he came out with an initial statement on the issue of Taiwan. Taiwan is an issue which he stated is that unless the United States, I say, handle it better, I use the word handle it better. The United States has a plan to provide $11 billion worth of ammunition, weapons to the country, but the president has been reluctant to fulfill that. But his counterpart, the Chinese counterpart, he's stating that Xi Jinping stated that we will definitely be clashing and potentially a conflict if they continue with this path. So he gave stern warning for us, the U.S., to back off with this meddling with Taiwan, but focus more on the common things we have in mind. There's a trade agreement that is hoping to come from this visit, which the United States provide agriculture and vehicles information to China if they can come to terms on that. So it's a lot of positive that will could come out of this meeting, but the issue about the war here in Iran and the issue with Taiwan are very sensitive matters, and it could sway how the world move in the future. So China is very strict and very pointed about the issue with Taiwan. So we are waiting to see how President Trump receives this and how he responds to this ultimatum.
Of course, as provided the updates from Norman Floyd Barnes, how the current situation is. Of course, yesterday, the Xi Jinping, Chinese president of the CCP, and US President Donald Trump with his son Eric Trump visited the Temple of Heaven in Beijing as well. So this is coming to show that the two leaders are coming to the dialogue table, sitting and discussing various issues, not only of the security nexus with Taiwan and China, but agricultural issues as well. The two leaders of the global world, I must say that China has come to that point where US President and the Chinese side must talk things out for other manufacturing nations to benefit from this kind of deal. The reactions is now how we will analyze what is to happen in the coming days. I want to ask you, sir, how do you see this friendship going on? The last time Donald Trump came to China was back in 2017, almost 10 years ago.
Yeah. Thank you for having me here, our co-panelist, Mr. Barn, and the viewers. Good noon from Dhaka. So this is a landmark visit in the midst of Iran war, business, and also the diplomacy with the position of Taiwan in relations to the America. So this will turn a historic visit,
right?
Not only for the business, but for many issues. One of the main issue is the war on Iran.
Right.
So as I had been hearing from some analysts, the two key issues will be, one is the keeping the Hormuz Strait open for the business and for shipping corporations, and secondly, Iran should not have a nuclear weapon. So the Chinese position is that China is thinking that Iran has a right to use the nuclear power for electricity. So
right.
Probably behind the scene, this has been agreed, because when this type of top level visit takes place, the behind the scene many diplomacy takes place, many discussion takes place, and provisionally they agree on few matters. Very importantly, Trump made two statements before coming to China. First, he said that he will have a very positive outcome about by this visit, and before boarding to the plane, he said that he don't expect much. Maybe that he thought whatever he might demand, he might get the outcome of this visit, may not fulfill all those. But landing in China, he expressed that the relationships between China and USA is better than ever before. And Xi Jinping said that China and American relations should not be rivalry,
right,
but should be partners. So this might be a win-win situation for both the countries in relations to business, in relation to the issue on the war on Iran, and on the issue of Taiwan. So
right,
the American position regarding Taiwan may be shifted. So it is really how Iran could sustain this war with America. The background history says it is the support of China and some support from Russia. So it is Chinese support which really enable Iran to sustain war against Israel and USA, and this is a very unjust war. So it is really China who can really make a permanent impression, permanent solution to this war.
right.
So I think this will also be a very good position for Iran to use the China to achieve their diplomacy and their goals to end this war.
Very nicely stated by Barrister M. Sarwar Hossain. Of course, the relationship is not a direct confrontation between US and China, more as they are in some kind of a proxy arrangement when it comes to the battlefield, if not the trading markets. There is an issue that one might discuss as well in the backdrop of the two nations meeting in Beijing. We know that in the region there are US allies as well, South Korea as well as Japan and Taiwan. And when I talk about Taiwan, there is some kind of strategic ambiguity as the US continues its arms sales to Taiwan and naval patrols near the island. I want to ask Norman, the media narrative as well as the optics between the two leaders seem to indicate better days that are in the making. of course, it might have the allies a bit questioning exactly what kind of intent does Washington have or the US side have inside China. But as for today, the two leaders are having a calm-headed discussions because it will actually dictate how the world will react in the coming days to weeks. We've seen 75 days of war with Iran, and Iran is confirmed and solid on the fact that China will be backing them regardless of what kind of outcomes will happen in the meeting. I want to ask Norman, how do you see it, the perspectives of the allies, especially the Taiwan issue? We've seen earlier on the US having arms sales to Taiwan. I want to get your aspect regarding the allies in the region. Norman.
Yes, it's very evident that the Chinese are very focused on what they call their rightful territory of Taiwan, having claims. And basically they want the U.S. to stop meddling and stop interfering with activities and internal affairs, they call it, within their region. So the issue is whether or not the United States will listen and focus more on the trade and the positive points versus trying to have trying to embed themselves into directly with Taiwan. This is something that China has basically stated is a no-go. They do not want the United States anywhere in that area because of how they feel that we are westernizing that region. So right now, the only thing they are concerned about, I believe everything else will work its way out, is the issue of how do they deal with Taiwan and whether or not President Trump's listen to Xi Jinping and back off. So let's wait and see what's the outcome. How would the president deal with this? But my suggestion, actually, my observation is basically that the U.S. will make concessions.
Of course, U.S. making concessions and the whole issue of Taiwan. There is a business leader with the background of being born from a Taiwanese mainland. He is Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, which actually now controls most of the AI technology, given fact to their graphics processing units as well. I want to ask Barrister Sarwar Hussain, Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, someone who directly came down from Air Force One, and I believe that they are trying to see that China desperately needs access to its chips as well as AI accelerators and advanced computing hardware. And of course, the US fears that the Chinese military AI developments will be further strengthened in this kind of coalition. This 2 days will feel very normal between the two leaders. I have not seen Donald Trump making such a foreign trip with so many business leaders in the last year and a half. I want to get your knowledge, especially because we've seen drones that are being controlled by people from a different location and then targeting the enemy and then blowing up in the face of the enemy, confirming a kill. That is the development in the technology field in regards to the military. How do you see this as a Taiwanese business giant is also representing the United States?
Look, in military, for every action, every war, any plan, you make an appreciation. So American military leaders definitely made an appreciation before coming to this war against Iran. So it is widely believed that it is Israel, it is Netanyahu who was trying for a long 50 years to draw America in a war against Iran. And ultimately, Israel was successful with Trump in his second term. So the military appreciation of USA was not appropriate, was not correct. That's why you have seen that dozens of military officers, including Chief of Army Staff and Chief of Air Staff, has been resigned, showing personal ground, but the background history that they didn't agree they didn't want to continue the war. So it is evident, it is almost proof that the initial appreciation, initial plan of USA to go for war against Iran was not correct. So talking to his European friends with the UK leader Starmer, who is facing a challenge in his leadership challenge,
Right.
when they wanted to participate in some form with USA, Trump told that we don't require your support, your participation, because the war has been already won.
Right.
And this knocking movement in America, all those factors compelled Trump to visit China. Now Trump has understood. In America, people have been telling that he is a nonsense. He does not. His normal thinking process has been derailed. It's a something called maniac. So over last 2 or 3 months, now Trump has realized it is really China who can really have some influence on Iran, and to have a peaceful solution, and to have a safe, face-saving exit from the war. That's why it is a compulsion. Trump did not visit, all on a sudden Trump did not come to China.
And I believe it was a delayed trip as well. It
So,
was supposed to happen last month.
The overcover is business, the chips and all those. The undercover is main issue is Iran, and maybe that there be impliedly there might be a discussion on Taiwan as well. So
Of course.
he had to come to China with a cover to seeing all the business magnate CEO, and the Taiwan born, now he is American citizen. He has come
Right.
with his delegate to show that yes, let us have the cooperative, leaving the conflictual approach, let us come to the cooperative approach. So if it works, then it is a good news for the whole world. And if it does not work, if it is a temporary, Trump has a habit to sweep away very quickly. If he sweeps away, then the relationship will come to the earlier position, and if he continues, then it might work for a solution in the Iran, and to have a face-saving exit from Iran war by the USA. And Trump is claiming, before coming to China, Trump has made a statement that they have achieved the war. So he has no other way other than expressing these words to his nation. But the people understand that you have not won the war, rather you have lost the war. Thank you.
Very excellently stated from Barrister M. Sarwar Hussain. We are yet to see what kind of rhetorics and narratives will come about in the coming days. Yet Donald Trump has not faced the media to talk how he felt about the meeting. However, before pursuing this trip in the White House grounds, he had said that he does not look at the financial woes of the common American citizens when plunging the nation into a war. The Pentagon is still accounting, but the war costs estimated to be above of $29 billion US. However, it is time to take a short commercial break. Afterwards, we will see what is happening in the United Kingdom after the King's speech, and how governance is being controlled, and who will be leading the new cabinet coming in. I want to take a short commercial break. Ladies and gentlemen, do stay with us on this very program. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Pantha.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan,
opening an open war conflict with them.
Testing nuclear missiles.
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing.
Special and exclusive footage that is being played on SATV screen.
Really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks.
Preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement.
They will face better projects.
with President Xi of China and President Lee of South Korea.
Trump's White House that is in favor of these things.
Simply not enough action being taken to address the problem of fossil fuels.
What their plan initially is towards the Caribbean, a place that has been met with two types of disasters.
Bangladeshi students at the same level of opportunity internationally and domestically.
International Affairs. Watch every Sunday to Thursday at 2 p.m. only on SATV and SATV Digital. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Pantha.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan
Opening an open war conflict with them.
testing nuclear missiles.
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing
Special and exclusive footage that is being played on SATV's screen.
Really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks
Preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement.
They will face better projects.
with President Xi of China and President Lee of South Korea.
Trump's White House that is in favor of these things.
simply not enough action being taken to address the problem of fossil fuels.
What their plan initially is towards the Caribbean, a place that has been met with two types of disasters.
Bangladeshi students at the same level of opportunity internationally and domestically.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back on International Affairs. Today I'm joined in the studio with Barrister M. Sarwar Hussain, while we have Norman Floyd Barnes from Washington District of Columbia. We were talking about the US President's trip towards China in Beijing. However, there are issues that of global importance we must also discuss. There are several online agencies that are also claiming as of yesterday that there was a suspected secret visit by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to the United Arab Emirates to meet the President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed during this 75-day period of war between the two nations. However, the Emirati Foreign Ministry rejected this report about Netanyahu visiting the United Arab Emirates. The Brent crude oil price as the last day financial still remains at $106 per barrel. I want to ask Norman, right now we don't have that much of an update regarding the Strait of Hormuz, regarding Iran. However, the international media as well as local media are also looking toward what will be the results of Donald Trump's and Xi Jinping's meeting. But I want to ask you, UAE, the nation United Arab Emirates, has been battered the most by Iranian retaliation. Of course, Iran has not targeted other nations as much as it did with the United Arab Emirates. I just want to get a notion from you. The total damage from this 75 days of active confrontations may well be over $1 trillion, let alone the 27 bases which have been targeted by Iranian strikes in the Middle East. How would you say that it would have an effect on the consumer market there in America? What are some of the issues as you find them, Norman?
Thank you. The issue is that the bottom line is that the consumers is paying for all of our international, I guess, activity, meaning everything comes back to the cost to the consumer. The price of gas, the price of food, the price of transportation of the food, everything has increased. So as we move forward with this battle between the strait, between Iran, the cost is passed on to the general public. We were spending billions of dollars, 29 billion plus, to continue this conflict, to control something that is not going to be able, or we're not going to be able to manage it. We're not going to be able to manage it, even if we do have control. It's going to cost more money for us, the United States, to take over or control that region than is the results. We do not have in the United States a direct dependence on what comes out that region. But because of that region is energy is tied to the global market, the prices of and the risk goes up, and that is reflected on everything we do in the United States, down to the jobs. People are losing jobs because the companies cannot afford the rising cost of doing daily operation. And it's largely for the energy. We have energy needs, the cost goes up because of the risk, and that risk is passed on to the consumer. Every consumer is absorbing this war effort. So we don't understand. Again, the people, the country do not understand what is the end game, how and why we'll continue this confrontation. We know money is the issue, money is a factor, trade is an issue, but there's alternatives, and the alternatives appear to be more attractive than the primary mission by the Trump administration right now. Unfortunately, the president made comments about how he's focused on the war and not the economic situation of the people. So that gives a bad taste again to the consumers that the president and his administration is more concerned about their mission than the actual people. So that is a real problem. You're asking people to go deeper into their pockets, and you tell them at the same time, we really don't care about your human condition. That's not going to work well here in the United States.
Right, as stated by Norman Floyd Barnes, very important issue, as the nation's leader must see eye to eye on the common American, on the common folk that have been burdened with this extensive economic duties for their livelihoods as well. I want to ask Barrister Sarwar Hussain, it is not only Xi Jinping and Donald Trump's meeting in Beijing, there is another global event going on in New Delhi, the BRICS 2026 foreign ministers meeting in India, in which Abbas Araghchi took to the podium stand. He's of course the foreign minister of Iran. He said that Iran has been subjected to two aggressions, twice events in less than 1 year of brutal and illegal aggression by the US, according to various news agencies there, under the theme Building for Resilience, Innovation and Cooperation, including sustainability, as the global meeting tries to understand the US and Iran issue. I want to ask you, the Chinese counterpart should have also been there, Wang Yi. However, he had stayed back in Beijing to see off on Donald Trump's arrival. So once again, the BRICS, the global south, those who are also huge economic players playing out in the global hemisphere in an alternative to United States of America. Of course, the last time this kind of summit was held, Donald Trump had issued various levels of tariffs to understand the economic problems. How do you see this? On one side, you have Beijing hosting US President Donald Trump. In the other side, New Delhi is looking towards the foreign ministers of the BRICS nation, the coalition of nations that is seen as a threat from Donald Trump.
Yeah, those are the very important development in the international politics and international relations. Look, if you ask one question, what America has achieved out of this war? Nothing. The answer is nothing. Only destruction and putting huge burden on the shoulder of the people. What are the burden? As you said, by this 75 days war, 29 billion of the people's money has been expended.
Right.
Nothing has achieved. What he has achieved, that America may face a recession after 1930. So that he has achieved. Now he has been compelled to visit Beijing. You know, a USA report, if I am not wrong, they said that by now Tehran has already recovered 75% of their missile capability, underground missile capability, 75 in this ceasefire time. So that as the USA claimed, Trump claimed that their war capability, military capability has been destroyed completely, but nothing has been achieved. 75% missile capability, underground missile capability has been recovered. So, and what he has burdened to the whole world, we have seen a UK report in BBC that the airfare, increase of airfare is inevitable. So that he has achieved, the burden on the people. So he has achieved nothing but all type of burdens to the consumer, to the people, including the normal commodities, to the fuel price, up to the air price. So as we had been saying time and again that this Israel and Middle East solution problem, and this Israel and this Iran the disputes, this has a simple solution. Put Netanyahu in the custody because he is a war criminal. He has a warrant against him, and America is protecting this accused who is a war criminal, and he is continuously committing crime against humanity. He has killed 80,000 people in Gaza, destroyed the whole civilization, and now he is doing that in Lebanon. So stop Netanyahu. If you want to success, today you have gone to Beijing, tomorrow you have to go to some other places. You have to come anywhere to stop Iran, and you cannot stop Iran. You can stop Iran controlling Netanyahu. Take Netanyahu, if you can take it in American custody. And the second solution, take all the Jews to the American mainland and make another province, make another state. That is the permanent solution for the Middle Eastern crisis. So this BRICS summit, it will take place and people will discuss that what is the ramifications has come, what are the consequences falling. And Iran has said rightly, they used again B-52 to destroy their nuclear facility and claim that it has been destroyed completely.
However, it has not, according to various
reports.
Reports
so,
as well.
So that's why I think American people will decide that whether Trump, what Trump has done, and inevitable result will come in their midterm election and the next election. Definitely, I'm sure that the party that Trump is leading will be in problem, will lose their power. Hopefully, I think, because he has captured a leader of a country, now trying in his country, and he has been doing the same thing. And a very bad example has been set in the violating the international law, that you are killing all top leaders of a country in the name of the war. Now if someone goes in the disguise of anything and kill the other leaders, that is not the international law. So you have violated two international law in a very quick span. One, you brought a leader from the South America, and you killed many leaders of Iran. This should not be the approach of the USA.
Of course.
That has the very bad example, a very bad incident you have committed. And this is also on type of war crime, that you killing the top leaders of another sovereign country. This should not have been the American foreign policy. And this you have not achieved anything, only a destruction you have achieved.
Right, very excellently stated regarding the US administration's position regarding various issues. I want to just ask at the very last instance to Norman Floyd Burns, you were hearing Barrister Sarwar Hussain, and I want to get a mandate from you, the people of America, how they will react in the upcoming midterm elections. It really is a matter of chess. I just want to get the last closing statements from you regarding Donald Trump and how people perceive him inside mainland America. How do you see it?
With AI, everybody understands exactly the information, what's happening here in America. The short answer is that the people do not approve of the Trump administration current international affairs plan. We have issues within the borders of the United States enough to consume any administration. However, the administration has taken these issues on a global scale. We are very concerned about how the United States is stretching its resources across the globe, and at the same time, they're leaving a big gap within the United States. We have serious issues in this country that need to be addressed, but they are not, as the president stated, we are not concerned. We are more concerned about the issue with the war, which tells another story that it's more of a defense contract situation, military situation, people making money, people making deals, and the Americans will just have to absorb what the Trump administration does. This is going to have a domino effect come the upcoming.
Right. As Norman was saying, in the upcoming midterm elections, as we have had disruptions in the Zoom connection, I want to discuss a various different topic. Even in the likes of the First World War, we have seen that an extensive Spanish flu had taken the sort of a pandemic worldwide, and that is the type of event I want to discuss. However, we will be doing so after a short commercial break. Do stay tuned on this very program. International Affairs. Watch every Sunday to Thursday at 2 p.m. only on SATV and SATV Digital. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Panta.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan,
opening an open war conflict with them,
testing nuclear missiles,
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing,
Special and exclusive footage that is being played on SATV's screen.
Really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks
preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement,
They will face better projects.
with President Xi of China and President Lee of South Korea.
Trump's White House that is in favor of these things.
simply not enough action being taken to address the problem of fossil fuels.
What their plan initially is towards the Caribbean, a place that has been met with two types of disasters.
Bangladeshi students at the same level of opportunity internationally and domestically.
International Affairs. Watch every Sunday to Thursday at 2 p.m. only on SATV and SATV Digital. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Panta.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan,
opening an open war conflict with them,
testing nuclear missiles,
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing,
Special and exclusive footage that is being played on SATV's screen.
really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks
preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement,
They will face better projects.
with President Xi of China and President Lee of South Korea.
Trump's White House that is in favor of these things.
simply not enough action being taken to address the problem of fossil fuels.
What their plan initially is towards the Caribbean, a place that has been met with two. Welcome back on International Affairs in the very final moments. I must thank Norman Floyd Barnes for joining us earlier on. We were discussing the geopolitics of global leaders worldwide. However, there is a topic that we do not talk as much as we should. This is, of course, the human health and how humans respond to the underlying issues of global outbreaks. Previously, we've seen how the Hunter virus, a rat-borne virus, has taken to the MV Hondias, causing a global cause of concern worldwide. And the latest news suggests in France that over 1,700 passengers on a cruise ship have been confined by the nation of France, suspecting gastroenteritis outbreak. Of course, that includes the norovirus as well. I want to ask Barrister Sarwar Hussain, the implications that we see, the headlines that we see regarding this kind of breakouts, the Hunter virus, as well as I just read out. It has huge economical and ecological impacts. I just want to get a brief comment regarding this before I can ask you about 10 Downing Street. Sir, how do you see this?
Yeah, we find news that the new type of virus is coming, like the coronavirus. We never heard, and the world has suffered tremendously, including Bangladesh. I myself confined for months together in the house, people 2 weeks sleeping in the bed and waiting for some commodities that we faced in Bangladesh during corona period. And as we learned from the news that Hunter virus is spread through rats, and 4 or 5 already dead, and also the news from Paris that the 4,000 has been confined. So it is a challenge always to the health of the people, and new virus is coming. These challenges will be there. There will be lot of activities, and new virus has a medically that they take a new form, coming in the new shape. So that is the challenge for the world health, for the every country, not only where it has spread it, but also it can happen to anywhere in the world.
Let alone even in Bangladesh, we are seeing a measles outbreak claiming the lives of about 400 children, causing concern, mass hysteria and scare amongst those who are parents of young born infants. Of course, the 9-month time frame has not been followed because of such a high number of outbreaks. But coming back on to the geopolitical debates from around the world, in the UK, we see a possible challenge to Sir Keir Starmer, who is the Prime Minister of UK. We see the Health Secretary West treating in an attempt for taking his seat. Of course, he will require the support of 81 Labour MPs. Sir, how do you see this? Because the United Kingdom definitely has the center point of democracy, of Westminster-style democracy, as they say. Of course, they're an example for worldwide audience as well. How would you see this? How long does Keir Starmer really have in the face of so many people asking him for a way out? Right.
Look, as I studied in UK, I follow the events of UK very closely. So the UK has two beauties. One is their democracy, and another one upholding the ethical behavior. You know, his predecessor, one of his friends violated the restriction of coronavirus, and with that issue, he had to go. Now a call has come for Starmer to resign, and 80 MPs from his own party has called him to resign.
Right.
Because the issue came in front that he had a good friend who mixed up with this pedophile, the
Peter Mandelson of the
Peter
FC
Mandelson.
Case.
That issue came previously, and there was a huge debate. Peter Mandelson took service from that sex abuser, world nastiest, heinous, including the children.
Right.
So that people has not taken a very right positive way. And we also remember that Starmer has a good relation with Tulip Siddiq.
Right.
And Tulip Siddiq is already punished in Bangladesh For that relation, Professor Yunus visited UK, and Starmer remaining in UK, there was a news that he has gone to Canada, which revealed that that was not true, didn't meet with Professor Yunus, only because of the instance of tulip, probably. So the UK people has that beauty. They don't accept any unethical behavior. The Mendelssohn issue, the tulip issue, all those has put Starmer in a very dangerous position, and once this call has come, I believe that Starmer cannot continue. He has to go. He cannot. Yeah, that is the beauty of the UK politics.
Of course.
But in contrast, in Bangladesh, we are far behind. In Bangladesh, the unethical behavior, the characterless behavior by the leaders, people accept it as it is normal. That they can plunder, they can do unethical activities, they can do money laundering. This is nothing for them. So how much behind we are? You see, the Islam priests, those ethical behaviors are being practiced by the West. Many of them are being practiced by West. We being the Muslim country, Muslim majority country, and people pray blocking the roads in Friday. Those people praying on Friday, blocking the roads, do not stand to uphold the ethical behavior. They don't speak against this unethical behavior of the plunderous leaders, of the characterless leader. That is the way that we lag behind, and the people of Bangladesh always being plundered by their own politicians, own thief politicians.
Right, excellent statements and delivery regarding not only UK ethics in Parliament as well as some of the situations here in Bangladesh. I believe establishing the rule of law is a very hard challenge when it comes to Bangladesh, as we often find bending the law to one's benefit to be the cornerstone of Bangladeshi systems and how society welfare continues in our nation. I must thank Barrister M. Sarwar Hossain. Very important discussion topics coming from your end, and just thanking you for being here on a Thursday as well. I want to thank Norman Floyd Barnes for continuously supporting this program from all throughout the week. I want to end on a fact here. Today is May the 14th. On this day, almost in 1800, the end of the 18th century, English physician Edward Jenner administered the first smallpox vaccine, and it was the foundation of immunology, in which stated global eradication of this very disease called smallpox, declared by the World Health Organization. With that being said, I want to sign off on International Affairs. I will see you all on Sunday in the coming week.